There's a world of fun and adventure waiting for you.
Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria.
And after a hard day, let
Freddy Fazbear's
fill up some of the best eats in town for you.
Great food and family fun. Come to
Fazbear's
Pizza and live the adventure today.
Picture it. It's the year 19XX. The economy's not looking too hot, and you've spent your last few coins yapping it up on the party line. Desperate for a sociality not to be seen until the invention of the cellular phone, you concede the awful truth. You need to get a job. Again. Hope you remembered your ID badge because it's time to swipe back in for another shift at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. And no, we're not working at the Orlando location. As we dive back into employment at Five Nights at Freddy's 2, a sense of dread uncoils in my gut, not simply due to the nature of selling labor in spooky environments, but rather because I've been told repeatedly that this is the hardest of the FNaF games, and I feel like I barely made it through the first one. Feel free to peep that vid if you haven't seen it. But the main crux of that experience revolved around exploitation, specifically doing the tightest loop possible to avoid playing the game as intended while still passing. It stripped us of dignity, yes, but still resulted in that sweet bonus check. In a way, it's just like having a real job. We'll be playing on PC this time rather than Xbox, which will have us using KBM, but perhaps this is a game changer. The Steam page shows the expected, screenshots of familiar cams, though everything seems a bit extra, a little bit more developed. This is the expected experience of a short game's direct sequel. Dropping in, we're greeted with an eerie ambiance, the view seeming to come from inside Freddy's head. The screen flashes and the title menu comes into view. Already, the sounds feel more intentional than the previous game. Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica stare at us, only they look more chibi-like, which is a strange direction. Other than that, the menu is almost identical to the first games. A newspaper clipping tells us of a store reopening, showing the image of Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica, though again, they don't look the same as the previous game. Freddy frankly looks like a dork, Bonnie looks like a nerd, and Chica is strangely curvy.
Hello? Hello? Well, if you're hearing this, then chances are you've made a very poor career choice.
A phone rings as we drop into the office. It's different, small vents replacing the side doors, an entryway before us. While the cams show different rooms, the spirit of them is the same, though one room has a music box we have to wind. I'm assuming this is akin to keeping an eye on Foxy, a mandatory mechanic to keep us engaging with the cams. A lot of what the phone man says goes past me as I try to figure everything out.
Hello? Hello and welcome to your new summer job at the new and improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Now, I want you to forget anything you may have heard about the old location, you know. That old restaurant was kind of left to rot for quite a while, but I want to reassure you, Fazbear Entertainment is committed to family fun and above all, safety. They've spent a small fortune on these new animatronics. They're all tied into some kind of criminal database so they can detect a predator a mile away. Now that being said, no new system is without its kinks. You're only the second guard to work at that location. The first guy finished his week but complained about conditions. We switched him over to the day shift. Mainly he expressed concern that certain characters seemed to move around at night and even attempted to get into his office. So while our engineers don't really have an explanation for this, the working theory is that the robots were never given a proper night mode. So when it gets quiet, they think they're in the wrong room. So then they go try to find where the people are, and in this case, that's your office. So our temporary solution is this. There's a music box over by the prize counter, and it's rigged to be wound up remotely. So just every once in a while, switch over to the prize counter video feed and wind it up for a few seconds. It doesn't seem to affect all of the animatronics, but it does affect one of them. And as for the rest of them, we have an even easier solution. You see, there may be a minor glitch in the system, something about robots seeing you as an endoskeleton without its costume on and wanting to stuff you into a suit. So hey, we've given you an empty Freddy Fazbear head. Problem solved. You wandered in will wander back out. Something else worth mentioning is kind of the quirky modern design of the building. You may have noticed there are no doors for you to close. But hey, you have lights, and even though your flashlight can run out of power, the building cannot. So don't worry about the place going dark. Well, I think that's it. You should be golden. Check the lights, put on the Freddy head if you need to. Keep the music box wound up. Piece of cake. Have a good night, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Left in silence, we begin the proto-loop. Wind music box, check vents and door, repeat. It isn't long before the new Chica appears, an audio cue playing. We put the mask on, but the cue doesn't stop playing. We shine the light, she's left, but the cue continues. Eventually she reappears in the vent, and then dips, the noise going with her. We continue the loop. Freddy appears shortly after in the main door. We don the mask for what feels like a while, but when checking, he's still there and closer now. Eventually, he too goes. It's interesting to get 2 animatronics on night 1, especially Freddy. It makes me nervous for the rest of the nights. 5 a.m. rolls into 6 a.m., the level beat. Honestly, I forgot about the time.
See, I told you your first night wouldn't be a problem. You're a natural. By now I'm sure you've noticed the older models sitting in the back room.
Night 2, the phone man congratulates us for returning to work. He warns us about Foxy, saying the mask might not scare him off, and that we need to use our flashlight on him. He also reminds us to wind the music box to keep whatever he's holding back pacified. Naturally, it isn't long before Foxy appears. We keep the light on him, but it's a solid chunk of time before he dips. He's quickly replaced by Freddy, who decides to watch us. The cue plays unceasingly as he just stands there, menacingly. As we try to shake Freddy off and keep the music box wound, Freaka reappears, followed by our first appearance of Bonnie. Bonnie stares lovingly into our eyes. I think I've got this in the bag, until a new face appears. A small boy robot is in the vent and steps into the office. I have no idea who he is or what he wants from us, though I suspect he's the voice that's been saying hello over and over. He just stands there, but the flashlight stops working. It's very close to 6 a.m., so I figure I can just outlast him, but at what feels like the last moment, we get got by Foxy. Why all of this happened, I can't say. Run 2, I'm more on top of it, doing my best to keep a tight loop. We keep on the winding and lights, Freddy showing up first this time. The audio cue is getting very annoying at this point. It's pretty useless if Freddy stands at the door for hours on end. We hear Balloon Boy creeping about, issuing hellos, but manage to keep him out of the office this time. Likewise, we keep Foxy at bay as well. It's a bit hectic, but when 6 a.m. hits, my body relaxes.
Did Foxy ever appear in the hallway? Probably not. I was just curious. They tried to remake Foxy, you know? They thought the first one was too scary. Now he's just a mess of parts. I think the employees refer to him as just the mangle.
Night 3, the hassling begins almost instantly. Foxy stays on us, joined by Bonnie post-car crash. This Bonnie looks more in line with the previous game, rather than the Bugs Bunny looking one we've seen before. The two of them continue to pop in and out all night, eating my attention and my battery. In the end, Bonnie gets me, despite the mask. We're then launched into a short pixel-based minigame. We play as a gold guy. There's a freak near some blood in the next room, so we follow it. The game ends. I have no idea what this meant or why this happened, but it was interesting. Run 2 goes even worse than the first one, Bonnie killing us again. Run 3 is the exact same. Run 4 goes much better as I get into the habit of putting the mask on constantly. With this, we finally managed to beat a Bonnie encounter. Then a second, and even a Chica one. OG Freddy hangs at the door, which is annoying, the music playing constantly. Just as I think I might prevail, Foxy jumps me. I'd been ignoring the door, assuming Freddy was still camping. Run 5 begins with more Foxy, but we've got the loop down pretty pat. Wind box, use mask, check lights, repeat. If Foxy appears, flash him 5 to 6 times. Marvel at sexy Chica. Pray stupid balloon boy stays away. We dodge Bonnie, and just as the flashlight runs out of battery, we cross the threshold into 6 a.m., finally clearing the night. It's a good feeling, but the wind feels too close despite how tight the loop is. It makes me apprehensive for future nights. In between, we get a POV of being with the animatronics, Golden Freddy making an appearance.
Okay, so just to update you, there's been somewhat of an investigation going on. We may end up having to close for a few days, I don't know. But try to avoid eye contact with any of the animatronics tonight if you can. Someone may have tampered with their facial recognition systems. We're not sure.
Night 4 begins and the phone guy calls, telling us to avoid eye contact with the animatronics and notes their aggression with adults. We keep the loop up, fending off Foxy. It makes me miss the first game when he would just hide the whole night. We shove off Balloon Boy, but get got by Chica. Run 2 goes about the same, but we get the female Foxy, Mangle, in the vent. While we'd seen her before, I hadn't really given her any thought, my brain treating them both as Foxy. Anyway, I'm too slow to draw the mask, so Bonnie gets us. Run 3, I'm sloppy, letting Balloon Boy get into the office. I give up, having no way to defend against Foxy. Run 4, I think I'm doing well until I realize it's only 2 a.m. I have no idea how I'm supposed to make the flashlight last long enough. By 3 a.m., I'm already down to 1 bar. My loop of wind the music box, wear the mask, check the lights, repeat seems optimal, but the wear down on the flashlight tells me I must be doing something wrong. Chica gets us. We do a few more runs. Mangle is becoming an object of annoyance, her and Foxy being my real problems. Mangle posts up early one run, so I just let the music box wind down, wanting the run to end. A tune plays as the box runs down, a puppet jump scaring us. We get a short minigame after, delivering cake to children. There's a sad child outside, and we watch as a purple guy steals the child's color. I assume this is a death. A few IRL days later, I retake up the FNaF mantle. The concept of playing this game has frankly kind of burned me out. Our first run back sees us hurdle breaches from Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica, and we sail into 5 a.m. As the hour counts down, Freddy comes in knocking, my mask reflexes just a hair too late. Our second run finds us largely the same as the previous, though this time Chica comes at the 5 a.m. hour. We show the bird who's best, winning the night, finally. I feel a flood of relief, though it's noted by anxiety. We've still got 2 nights to go. We watch the puppet watch us from inside a suit.
Keep a close eye on things tonight, okay? From what I understand, the building is on lockdown. No one is allowed in or out, especially concerning any previous employees. When we get it all sorted out, we may move you to the day shift. A position just became available. We're going to try to contact the original restaurant owner. I think the name of the place was Fredbear's Family Diner or something like that.
Night 5 begins, the phone guy warning that the building is on lockdown. Everyone seems to be out in full force tonight, the decrepit trio on me constantly. Balloon Boy and Mangle do their best to keep the pressure up as well, and Sexy Chica reemerges along with Toy Freddy. This throws me off. It's been a minute since we've seen these guys, and I don't really remember how I'm supposed to deal with them. 5 a.m. hits, and just when I've got everything on lock, Toy Chica appears in the vent. I panic, put on the mask, but she won't leave, and the music box is about to wind down. I wind the box, but before I can switch to my mask, she jumps me, ending the run. Brutal. Our next run, we get stalked by Balloon Boy, and then jumped by Chica and Freddy in succession, the music box hitting critical. While we're able to wind it just in time, Toy Chica sprung up from the vent to ensure our demise. While this is a bummer, we're treated to a death minigame, where we play as the puppet giving gifts to children. This gets darker as we're then prompted to give life to the slumped over children, and the life takes the forms of the masks representing the Freddy Fazbear's pizza mascots. Lore, lore, la lore, 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 la lore, la lore. Our next run starts similar, though we've managed to fend off Toy Chica this time. I see Toy Bonnie as I pull up the cam, so I put it down and get jumped by regular Chica. We wait her out, and I re-pull up the cam, expecting Toy Bonnie to have left, but he didn't, so he kills us. The next run has more of the same, mostly consisting of us dodging the old animatronics. At one point, I put the mask on to keep Mangle away, but I didn't know another animatronic was in the room with me. Mangle alert saved my life. In a similar fashion, I again noticed Toy Bonnie too late, pulling up the cams, but regular Bonnie covers for me, taking up space in the office. Between this and the Chica's looming, it's a solid night. My 5 a.m. apprehension grows, but somehow, someway, we manage to clear. A hot check is ripped for Jeremy Fitzgerald, and it's revealed this game is a prequel rather than the expected sequel, taking place in 1987. If Jeremy is the victim of the bite of 87, I can't say, but it's an interesting connection, and it opens a few questions about where the toys ended up. Back at the menu, we're given a gold star for our efforts, and Night 6 unlocks. I imagine this follows the first game where Night 6 is the hardest, and then Night 7 is a custom night. 6-7.
Hello. What on earth are you doing there? Didn't you get the memo? The place is closed down, at least for a while. Someone used one of the suits. We had a spare in the back, a yellow one. Someone used it. Now none of them are acting right. Listen, just finish your shift. It's safer than trying to leave in the middle of the night.
We start Night 6, the phone guy revealing we're not supposed to be in tonight. He tells us to stay where we are for our safety, but also asks us to stay and work a birthday party tomorrow morning, the last one before the restaurant closes for a while. Chica gets us shortly after. The next run goes pretty well, everyone is out in full force as expected, but keeping a tight loop manages to keep everything at bay. That is, until we see a haunting floating Freddy face in the doorway. I ignore it, moving through my motions, and get got by the visage. I did scream when this happened, I'm not gonna lie. The next run is overwhelming, the original trio constantly standing in my office as the music box winds down. We see a visage of Golden Freddy sitting in my office as Mangle's static plays, just before getting jumped by Foxy. We keep at it, but death is common and Foxy is a much bigger problem than I would have thought. Between him and Balloon Boy, we find ourselves completely overwhelmed. Ironically, it's when the office is invaded that I feel the most at ease. It's out of my hands. We get a death minigame chasing the puppet as Golden Freddy, but I touch a dead body along the way and the game ends. A few runs later after, we get another death minigame, this time playing as Foxy. After some close victories soiled by the dreaded Balloon Boy, we finally keep a good pace. I've experimented with ignoring the right vent, timing the winding, counting the flashing. I find my optimal is wind the music box for 6-7 turns, put the mask on, flash the hallway 5 times, check the left vent, flash the hallway 5 times, check the right vent, repeat. It's tedious and it makes the hours feel as if they drag on forever. Ignoring the right vent is likely a valid strat if you're down for more luck-based experiences, but I've been burned by Toy Bonnie enough to check it. In the end, we claim victory, collect our check, and our star. There's a notice about Freddy Fazbear's closing, it apparently having been open for only a few weeks. A quote from the CEO mentions reopening at a smaller scale, a clear nod to the events of the first game. Like the first game, beating Night 6 unlocks Custom Night, while 2020 returns, the mode where Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy are turned to their most difficult. We're also given some other presets based around theming, like Ladies' Nights or Freddy Circus. I give 2020 a go and I'll just play the footage. It's clear I've hit the wall with this game, and I'm not mad about it. There's a lot I can say about this game, but I'll start with the obvious up front. This game is hard. I dreaded playing it after night 3, to the point where I put off this video for weeks just because I didn't want to finish the game. It's an extreme micromanager with a creepypasta dressing, which I just really didn't enjoy. There are definite improvements from the previous game, greater character and action diversity, better graphical design, the world building feels more substantial, but the overwhelming gameplay and constant flashing still lord over these improvements. I'm split on these new mechanics. The mask is a good implementation, adding an element to gameplay while still making sense in universe. If the original animatronics think you're also one, they'll leave you be. In fact, the mask works against everybody aside from Foxy, which is needed to prevent the player from just wearing the mask the whole night. The flashlight is your defense against Foxy, but stops no one else. This keeps you alternating, ever moving, fine. The greatest grievance is the music box. The winding of the music box prevents the puppet from appearing, which is an instant game over, so it can't be ignored or even neglected for more than about 15 seconds. This sets the framing for the loop. Regardless of what happens, you have to return to wind the music box. One of my complaints about the first FNaF game is that the cams are useless. You don't need to look at them in any real capacity to win. Foxy won't leave Pirate's Cove if you only look at one of them often enough, and you can stall Freddy by looking at his camera, meaning only one camera matters, 4B. Likewise, only one camera matters in FNaF 2, camera 11, the music box. This is very easy to catch on to the point where I don't even think I really looked at the other cameras, even on night 1. The game tells you to wind, and we wind until sunrise. Perhaps this is a perceptional issue on my end. When I think FNaF, I think watching the cams. This is how it's embedded in the culture. But the reality is watching the cams is such a small part of it that it's disappointing. Because of the music box, the cams are shoehorned into the winding function exclusively. Likewise, the time spent with the office visitors is also polarizing. Having the cast break into your office is fun, and it can be scary as all hell. Having Freddy himself pull down your monitor and look you in the eyes as you draw your mask is memorable. It might lead to some losses, but it's something the player can learn to overcome easily enough but still be on edge about. Having Balloon Boy visit, though, is unpleasant. I've lost a lot of runs because of BB, and I wish him the worst. A lockup mechanic, he functions by disabling the flashlight, meaning you'll fail to Foxy sooner than later. When pincered between the ticking music box and Foxy, he can feel like a gut punch. The mask can stave him off, but I've had games where he stayed in the vent for a very long time. Mangle, for her part, was the least offensive of the animatronics and the easiest to keep at bay. Often her visit would overlap with another animatronic, an enjoyable synergy from a player perspective. The toys I felt were funny, though I don't know why Chica is freaked out in booty shorts. The toys were annoying at worst, and normally inoffensive. The last of the new mechanics are the post-death minigames, which are more for lore than for gameplay. They all consist of moving a character, nothing else is required. They're all macabre, focusing on child death at Freddy's. From what I've seen, they knit together to tell the story of that purple guy killing a child, and then killing more children inside the restaurant. We don't fuck with the purple guy, chat. I like the story direction the game takes. Phone guy returns, linking the games nicely with the final phone call and the bite of 87. Newspaper clippings also return, and with a new minigame addition, you can see FNaF gearing up to be a more narrative-driven franchise. That said, I get why people interested in FNaF watch streamers play it rather than playing it themselves. The payoff just isn't there. Watching an 8-hour lore video is probably a better use of time than actually playing these games. Overall, I would rate this game a 5 out of 10. While the game adds new mechanics and additional lore, the issues of the first game remain in a much more difficult wrapper. The game itself is simply natural progression. More animatronics, more things to tend to, more lore. In that way, it is a success. Take a project people really enjoyed, do it again, but bigger. But the wearing difficulty puts a damper on this. Of the standard games, FNaF 2 is hailed as the hardest for a reason. For a decade now, people have sought help overcoming its challenge, a testament to both its difficulty and the interest FNaF still attracts. Though, make no mistake, I would have dropped this game at night 4 with no qualms if it wasn't for the fact that I was going to Five Nights at Freddy's Haunted House in Universal this October. After all, how am I supposed to face Freddy if I can't even beat his game? Anyway, I'm gonna go on unemployment for a while. I'll see you next time.
I'm Golden Freddy. I like to scare, and when I scare, I become a nightmare. You're in the office, probably gonna die, and you will die because you won't survive.